Coast, noon on the West Coast, and I want to welcome you to Coffee with Christy and Crew. I am personally very excited about today because we're not talking about business. We're talking about something more important than business. And while we're waiting, we have a couple people still coming in the waiting room. I'll introduce myself and give you our upcoming schedule, and then I'm going to introduce you to our super special guest and let her take it away. So I am Christy Belt-Grossman. I'm the owner of Ops Boss Coaching. We are the premier operations coaching, training, and community for industries across the nation, but also especially with the niche in real estate. So I want to welcome you here. I know many of you have been here before. If you want to turn your cameras on, we would love to see your beautiful faces because Suzi's actually going to have us doing some exercises. Nothing really too crazy, but if you know Suzi, it's always a little crazy. While we're waiting for people to jump on, I'm going to encourage you guys, if you are not already, to follow us on Instagram at Ops Boss Coaching, to follow Suzi. Suzi, are you under RCA Nutrition on TikTok? Or under you?
Suzi Dobias 1 would be the greatest thing to find all the good TikToks.
Okay, so Suzi Dobias 1 on TikTok.
Yes, yes.
Boom. All right, our next Coffee with Christy will be October 10th, and we are going to do a retreat wrap-up. So that'll be a combination of business stuff and personal stuff, all the things from Ops Boss Leader Retreat. So if you can't make it to the retreat, feel free to join us and get some of the goodness. Our next class coming up is October 23rd, low-cost, high-return client and recruiting events with Coach Jerica Contos. Beautiful timing for those of you who are planning your 2025 schedule. And then November 13th, coach them up or coach them out with yours truly. And if you are looking to bring people to teach in your area, reach out to me personally. So let's get started with today's topic. Mastering stress, a holistic approach to hormonal balance and wellness. And I want to introduce you to Suzi Dobias, and I'll read you like the official introduction, but then I want to tell you a little bit about her personally. So Suzi is the owner of RCA Nutrition and a powerhouse in the world of health and wellness. Suzi is known for her progressive techniques and proven results. Some of you know some of her results because you know some of our coaches and you've watched them on their health journey to being healthier, whole people. Suzi is known for her progressive techniques and proven results. Her certifications include nutritionist, bio-individual nutrition, nutrigenetics, SIBO practitioner, and master fitness trainer. Suzi specializes in uncovering the root causes of health issues, helping people overcome everything from weight struggles to autoimmune disorders, and empowering them to achieve truly healing and success. And I want to tell you all, I have the biggest heart for Suzi because my grandson, who those of you who follow me on social media, you know Levin from Heaven. And Levin from Heaven is now 2 years old. And Levin from Heaven has struggled with all kinds of health issues, eczema and allergies and allergic to nuts and all the things. And Suzi kindly from the bottom of her heart reached out behind the scenes to help my daughter with those early months with him. So I'm so excited. She's going to be speaking at our retreat in about 12 days, and she's going to meet Levin from Heaven for the first time. So I want you guys to meet my friend Suzi Dobias. Suzi, you can introduce yourself and take it away from here.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm so excited to be here. You guys, oh, this community, I love you guys. You guys are the heartbeat, the soul of operations, of everything that goes on for the business, right? And I feel that it doesn't work without you, okay? But what I've seen within your community specifically is the stress is overwhelming, okay? And it can be, it's interesting on how we don't really realize how much stress impacts our life and our health. We understand it affects us mentally, but we don't really understand how physically it affects us and what it does to our hormones, okay? And ladies, let's get real. Hormones are all over the place, all right? And stress actually is the one thing driving a lot of it. So let's kind of just jump right into this, because one of the things that it's the big tagline that lately we've been using is stress making you fat? And the bottom line is it is. Okay. And I'm going to educate you guys on why that's happening. And then I'm going to give you guys some tools and some things to do to actually shut stress down in the moment. Okay. Because there's some things. It's funny because you can't control the situations around you, right? You can't control what somebody's going to do, what they're going to say. You can control your response, but good God, sometimes it's just a lot, right? And it's exhausting and it never ends. And you're like, oh my goodness, give me a break here. So I'm going to give you some practical things that you can implement immediately that actually can shut down cortisol, which is your fight or flight hormone, and get your body into a rest and digest instead of a fight or flight. All right, that stressful situation. That'll help balance out your hormones. That'll help get you into a better place, period. So let's roll, ladies.
All right, you want to share your screen with us, Susie?
I can do that.
Look at that, like magic.
Magic. Okay, so disclaimer, I'm just going to roll this out. I am not your doctor. This is for educational purposes only. If you have questions for your doctor, seek your doctor. There we go. All right. So do you have trouble losing weight, right? Whatever you try, nothing seems to work. You have a hard time falling asleep and staying asleep. Okay, I think this is one of the biggest things that I see across the board. Like people have a hard time going to sleep and they have a hard time staying asleep. And there's a hormone that's actually making this happen, right? And this could be cortisol, because cortisol should be something it elevates high in the morning and then it should taper down at night, where melatonin actually comes up. All right, and that's your sleep hormone. But a lot of times when we're in stress, cortisol can still be high at night and you have a hard time falling asleep. So if somebody calls you, refers to you, or you refer to yourself, I'm a night owl, man, I can accomplish everything at night. I am so awake at night, but in the morning, in the daytime, super tired. We might have some cortisol issues, you know? Are you just feeling tired? Are you feeling drained? All right. Do you crave salty or high carb foods? You know, people are like, oh my gosh, yes, please, can I have a donut and some chips, please? I would like that today. You're going to carry weight around your belly, and I'm going to explain to that in a minute as to why. Are you living off of coffee? Do you have anxiety? I mean, this is just, I think this is everybody, right? You know, these are the things, you know. Do you feel like your hormones are out of balance? So just to give you the lay of the land, ladies, once we hit the age of 40, this is where the decline of estrogen and progesterone start. Okay, so this is, everybody will say, I turned 40 and things changed. They did. We start entering more perimenopause kind of things. And guess what? This goes on for a good 12 or 13 years. And I just say, what? It's so funny. I have people come to me all the time. They're like, I think, you know, I'm Suze, I'm 43. I'm perimenopause. I'll be in menopause in a couple of weeks. And I'm like, oh, honey, let me just give you a hug right now. That's not how it works. However, I can get you through this stage without gaining 10 pounds. And they're like, wait, what? You can? Yeah, cortisol. We're going to go there in a minute. Do you skip your cycle sometimes, right? Do you have spotting between periods? Okay. A lot of times people will look at this and be like, it's perimenopause. However, it could also just be stress, because your stress hormone sits next to another hormone. We'll see that in a diagram in a minute. Low sex drive, crying spells for no reason. And I mean, yeah, you could be tired, but let's get real. Stress is exhausting. You become lightheaded and dizzy. All right. This can happen. Do you have low blood pressure? These are all signs and symptoms of a hormonal imbalance, specifically with cortisol. So again, you know, stress not only affects your mood, it affects your immune system. Okay, so when your stress levels get up, you tend to get sicker quicker, don't you? Like you notice that. I'm super stressed, going through a hard season. Oh my gosh, cough, cough, cough. I'm not well, right? Sleep gets imbalanced. You've got hormones. You have your thyroid, your metabolism, your gut health, and your body's ability to lose weight. All of these things are affected by stress. How about it? Oh, like shoot me now. Seriously, this is like all the main things of your body that you want working right? And the thing is, though, we can do something about this.
Curious, before we go on, if you guys would type in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 is like I'm in complete stress overwhelm and 1 is I don't experience stress at all, what would you say your average stress level is? Put a number in the chat. And Susie, you can keep going, but I'm just curious where everyone is, because I think that most of the people on this call are in real estate. Maybe not everyone, but many of them are. And I think our industry rides and takes pride in stress when actually it's not doing good things for us. So
No,
I'm just
that is
curious.
that is real. I have been working with so many people within this industry for a long time, and it's there is so much they take pride in the stress and the drive and the it's just almost I've never seen anything like this. I'm not kidding. There is no industry like real estate, and it's by the seat of your pants. Spring market hits, and I swear I need tasers and shock collars just to hold on to people. Like, I mean, it's insane on the level of pressure and expectation for production, and everybody is going so many different directions, and the stress level is out of control. Like, there's no real balance here.
So I find it interesting that the numbers are almost identical through the chat, 6s and 7s. And the question I asked was, where are you riding on a daily level with your stress? So that's not even when you're really stressed. That's just kind of your baseline is a 7. Like that's really high. So I'm
Yes.
glad we're having this conversation. Let's keep going.
Absolutely. So there are different types of stressors on your body. Okay. We have emotional stressors. Okay. So we have things that can just emotionally trigger us, right? We have mental stressors. Okay. And these are things that we're stressing out about because we have to mentally figure things out. You know, they're dropping bombs on you all day long, and you've got to literally juggle fire and knives at the same time. You're a circus act. You're doing a fantastic job, though. I'm telling you right now. All right. You have physical stresses, right? So sometimes we have injuries. Sometimes our muscles are getting tight and things can just physically not feel good. And sitting is the new smoking, people, all right? You guys have a very sedentary job, okay, where you are sitting for long periods of time. I see a lot of headaches. I see a lot of neck issues. I see a lot of hip issues, right? Where because of all the sitting. And exercise. I know people are like, oh my, exercise is fantastic. It's great. However, it is another stressor on the body. So depending on the type of exercise you do, that matters for stress levels, for where you're at in your cycle, for where you're at in your life. All of these things are important. Food. All right. This is probably, this goes two different ways. Okay. Because you can stress your body out of eating inflammatory foods. Okay, so if you're eating a bunch of garbage, if you're eating a bunch of things that are processed, a bunch of things that, you know, seed oils, gluten, dairy, sugar, you're literally just eating to self-soothe, because a lot of people do just because of stress, right? You're putting more inflammation on your body, which is going to be another stressor. And then what I see this both actually in this industry, this you guys specifically, it's either not eating the right things or not eating at all. So ladies, okay, under eaters, all right. I have people come to me all the time, Suzi, I barely eat at all and I can't lose weight. Yeah, you know why? Because God designed our bodies to survive, okay? So literally, when your body goes into fight or flight, all right, there's certain things that happen to the body, all right? And so basically what's going to happen is your metabolism is going to shut down and slow down, and you're going to store fat to survive. So basically when you're not eating enough, your body is taking that as a stress of, oh my gosh, I don't know when I'm going to see a meal next, all right? I'm going to do what I need to do to survive. So I will slow everything down. Weight won't move. And I'm telling you, it is ingrained, I think, in everybody's mind, because it's told all throughout growing up, you need to eat less if you want to lose weight. You need to eat less if you will want to lose weight. And what I see is you guys are so busy. Number one, you're not eating. And then two, when you do eat, you think like, oh my gosh, can't eat too much because, well, I'm going to gain weight, but then the weight's not moving, right? So it's like a double-edged sword. It's funny. I have somebody who fought with this woman, love her to death, love her so much. She, 3 years, 3 years, starving herself. And I kept telling her, you're not eating enough. And she would be like, nope, that's not, terrified to eat. And finally I said, listen, let me just, I'm gonna rack out a plan. I'm just gonna tell you exactly what to eat right now. Like I can throw it at you. This is what I want to see. We need more fats, we need more proteins. And I didn't even like calculate anything. I didn't even calculate calories or anything else. And I'm like, it's gonna take us about 2 weeks to reverse your metabolism. Ride this out with me. So 3 weeks into this, people were like, are you on Ozempic? What are you doing? And you should have seen her. She was like, I starved myself for 3 years. And I'm like, she's like, why didn't I listen to you? And I'm like, because you listened to America. America. America said, don't eat. You gotta, if you gotta calories in, calories out. Don't you do that? And she's like, I'm exercising so much and the stressor on the body and then not eating. All right. So that is another stressor. Okay. We have stored trauma in our bodies. Okay. So when we go through traumatic situations in life, basically trauma just doesn't leave you. Trauma stays with you. And trauma actually settles into the fascia. Okay. So in the fascia is basically a big sheet all the way through your body. Okay. And that is where trauma will get stored. And so we got some techniques on releasing trauma, all the things, and then just holding on to stress. Okay. So a lot of times we hold on to things we shouldn't hold on to. We'll have a conversation with somebody, and you know what? We'll repeat it over on replay all day long and just be pissed, right? And you're not letting it go. You're laying there at night. Oh, I can't even believe it. You know what I mean? It's such a hard thing to turn off. I got tools for you on how to do it though. So we must carry on today.
Ashley, thank you for sharing that. Ashley shared a personal example that completely affirmed what you just shared with us, Susie. Ashley, thank you for sharing that.
Oh, honey. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that is real. Like people, they don't eat, you know what I mean? And anorexia is something that, again, I think it's a stress thing, and it's also what society tells you, don't eat, don't, this is what you need to do to control. And that's the thing when it comes to any kind of eating disorder or disordered eating. It's a control thing. And sometimes, to be honest with you, it's the only thing you can control. When things seem very out of control in your life, there's certain things you can control. So I'll watch people could really, really control this because sometimes it's all they can control. So I get it. I get it. So there's certain nutrients that are actually depleted when cortisol levels raise. So you have magnesium. Okay, so so those of you who don't take any kind of vitamins or supplements and you're under a lot of stress, I really want to encourage you to at least get these guys in. Okay, because magnesium is going to be lowest in the beginning of your day, and it's going to be lowest at the end of your day. Okay, and there's different types of magnesium. There's 8 different kinds. Specifically in the morning, you would lean towards something like magnesium malate. It's a good magnesium that will give you energy. And the end of the day, you would want to lean towards something like magnesium glycinate. Magnesium glycinate will relax the muscles and allow you to chill out and sleep, which is fantastic. Okay. And then also magnesium threonate would be good in the morning. It's good for the blood-brain barrier. So it's good for mental processing. Okay. Vitamins get completely depleted. All right. And same thing with vitamin C. So these things you want to replenish, period, throughout the day. So cortisol, let's talk about it. What is cortisol? Cortisol is a hormone that's produced in your adrenal glands. Okay. And it's located on top of the kidneys, and it affects every organ and every tissue in the body. All right. So it's often called the stress hormone because it's released when the body experiences stress, but it also has many other important functions. Okay. So when you're looking at cortisol, you have to understand that it regulates your metabolism. All right. So basically, which is really important. Okay. So how does that happen? Well, again, I talked about how it'll slow your metabolism down when you're in a stressful state. Okay. So ready? It connects straight to the thyroid. Let's talk about this for a second. So your thyroid is your metabolism, right? So you have a thing called free T3 and reverse T3. Free T3 is the active form of thyroid. It's like your gas pedal. Okay, this is your energy. And at the cell, you have a thing called reverse T3. So when it's trying to get into the cell, reverse T3 will like slow things down when it's had enough. All right. But when you're under stress, the pituitary gland will tell the body to kick up reverse T3. So it'll slow everything down and it'll shut down free T3. And all of a sudden, because we're trying to conserve, the body's trying to protect, it's trying to conserve energy. All right, that's what it's trying to do, trying to survive. So it'll slow your metabolism down. And you're like, oh my gosh, really? Yeah. So every single time you're getting stressed, it's affecting your thyroid. Who knew, right? Suppresses inflammation. All right. So this body, I mean, remember, this thing all affects your immune system and everything else. Regulates your blood pressure. So basically, in your adrenal glands, you have a hormone called aldosterone. Aldosterone it regulates blood pressure because this is your sodium and potassium. So what you'll see is a lot of times in the morning, okay, if you've been under a lot of stress, you might get dizzy, all right? You might feel like, or low blood pressure. You're like, oh my gosh, I have chronic low blood pressure. Okay, this is an indication that we're dealing with some cortisol issues. Sometimes people will go from sitting to standing and they'll be like, whoa, I'm feeling dizzy. So electrolytes are super important and key because that's what we're talking about when we're talking sodium and potassium. These are electrolytes, all right? So I tell everybody, start the day off with electrolytes, okay? Before you even go to your coffee, which is going to dehydrate you, first thing you want to do, I tell people get Baja sea salt or Celtic sea salt. That's exactly what I do. I will take like a spoon, I'll shove it in the thing, I'll lick it. I swear I'll get like probably about a quarter of a teaspoon. I'll chew it up, and then I will take water, and then I'll chug like half a water bottle right away. Why? Why this? Because this will actually, chewing it up like this and taking it this way will drive it into the cell. A lot of times we won't absorb what we need to absorb if you're just drinking the straight water or you're drinking just electrolytes in your water. But when you use these specific mineralized salts, it's a totally different animal and it'll help regulate everything. So again, one of the other functions is, it increases and regulates blood sugar. Okay, so here we go. When you're sleeping at night and you wake up between 3 or 4 in the morning and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm wide awake. What's going on here? Okay, this is a cortisol release. And a lot of times what this is blood sugar gets low and cortisol will kick up. It'll activate, and that's what it'll actually, when your body releases cortisol, it's going to release blood sugar. Okay. And when it releases blood sugar, now we have blood sugar floating around in the bloodstream. Normally, what happens is this is the metabolic process. Now your pancreas will release insulin, okay, to basically curb down the sugar. Okay, now when this constantly is happening over and over again, pancreas can get tired, right? But also you've got this excess blood sugar floating around here. Now, normally what it does is it stores in the liver, okay, for a rainy day. But when liver storages get full, it stores as fat, okay? Specifically triglycerides. So if you look at your cholesterol panel and you're like, why are I eat healthy and everything else, why are my triglycerides so high? Sugar. Yeah, it isn't the fat that's making that go high. This is sugars that do this. So anytime we're eating sugary things, and that's the other thing, if you're eating something sugary before bed, you should see what blood sugars look like at night after you've had something sugary. It'll go up, it'll go down, and it'll rage all night long, and then it'll hit a massive crash around 3, and then all of a sudden everything will shoot back up again. Like, it's nuts to watch this like play out on like the diagrams of, not diagrams, but on the devices. Again, it helps control your circadian rhythm, your sleep-wake cycle. So it's super important because we have daylight when we should be wide awake, right? And nighttime is when melatonin takes in play. And this is where cortisol shuts down. And now we have rest. All right. So many functions of cortisol. Who would have known? But why is it making me fat, Susie? What's happening here? We're getting there. Okay. My favorite diagram of all. So if we're looking at your hormone chain here, adrenal glands are up at the top. Did you know that? Like, controlling all this. And they're like, holy cannoli, Susie, there's my progesterone, there's estrogen. It's all being controlled by who? The adrenal glands, cortisol, okay? Precursor to all the hormones, followed by cholesterol. And you're like, but cholesterol is bad for me. Okay. Cholesterol is the precursor for your sex hormones, okay? So did you know about 20 years ago, the normal range for cholesterol was 300 and nobody had an issue with that? Bring in big pharma, and now if you get above 200, they're going to slap a statin on you. Hi, medical system. Isn't that fun? Okay. So learning more about this and understanding how this works is important. If you don't have high enough cholesterol, you don't have enough to make hormones. Okay. So this is important to know. So basically, From cholesterol, you have pregnenolone. I like to call her the fairy godmother of hormones. She's your mothership. She's going to decide who gets what, right? Down one leg, you have all of your sex hormones. You've got your DHEA, your testosterones. You've got, free testosterone, 3 estrogens. Did you know there's 3? Yeah. Down the other one, you have progesterone and you have cortisol. And you're like, really? Okay, so check this scenario out. I'm super stressed and I haven't eaten, and somebody just said something, and then they just piled more work on me. Nobody's listening to me. They're not following the system. What's going to happen here? Pregnenolone's deciding who's going to get the hormone. Cortisol is your fight or flight hormone. She trumps all. Okay. Cortisol is going to get fed. Who doesn't get fed? Progesterone. Now, what can happen here? A couple things. All right. Number one, progesterone levels will start to decline. Okay. So symptoms of progesterone levels declining, spotting in between your period. How about it? Irregular bleeding. All right. Your period's just being all messed up. Okay. Because progesterone's not getting fed. This is one of the things that happens. Now, because of this, progesterone levels can get low, and now all of a sudden you become estrogen dominant, and you're like, what's that? That's where estrogen levels, and estrogen levels can actually be in range, not even high, but you're estrogen dominant. And being estrogen dominant will cause a host of issues and problems for all of your hormones, and weight loss is near impossible. So it throws everybody out of balance. Okay, it'll throw testosterone out of balance. It'll throw everything out of balance. And there's ways to fix this. How about it? Okay, you ready for this? Stressful time of my life. All right, this is me at a family reunion, 2 years ago? And as you can see, I look like a different person. Okay. I was going through one of the most stressful seasons of my life, and literally was just, I wasn't doing anything different with my food. I wasn't doing anything different with my exercise. I was being impacted by stress, and it literally threw all of my hormones. And I was going through menopause. Ooh, good times, right? And the picture there next to you is me now. Okay. Successfully realizing after I came actually back from that season, actually the whole conference, and I had everything turned around within 2 weeks. I was like, okay, I know exactly what I need to do. I know how to fix this. I know where I'm at, and I got to do the things. So when it comes to testing cortisol, okay, so doctors will be like, oh, let's do a blood test. And I'm like, oh, shoot me in the face now. Okay, first of all, cortisol should be tested during 4 points throughout the course of the day, all right? Blood test is going to only show what's actively going through the blood, and they only test it usually first thing in the morning, all right? Now, if you see this little diagram here, this is the Dutch test. This is the dried urine test, okay? Now, this is super important to take a look at. This is what cortisol levels look like after they've been processed through the liver, okay? And you'll see there's a couple things going on here. These 2 little mountains down here, you got one that's called free cortisol. This is inactive cortisol, all right? And the one to the right is free cortisol, okay? Now, what would be picked up on blood would be free cortisol, okay? And you look at that 24-hour free cortisol, it's like 52, it's super below, it's like below, you're like, oh my gosh, is this person dead? And even the free cortisone, you're like, wow, that's super low. But we jump up to the little dial up here, and you see metabolized cortisol, and there's a ton of it. And you're like, well, wait a minute, hang on. If I would have done a blood test, I would have thought I'm dying, but apparently I'm not, okay? Because we have to look at how it's metabolizing, all right? So the little gas gauge underneath that, it's showing us that your body either can prefer a cortisol pathway or a cortisone pathway, okay? Now, if this person here preferred a cortisone pathway, that metabolized cortisol would look totally different. It would be super, super low, because what can happen is free cortisol will actually go down to the kidneys, and if it goes down that cortisone pathway, it goes deactive. It deactivates. So it's not going to be high. It's going to be super low. Now, this person specifically, their body chose the cortisol pathway, and you see it shooting higher on the gauge. That's why it's metabolizing okay. So getting this kind of data is super huge, because especially when you're trying to figure out your hormones, because if I had a buck for how many people sent me their hormones and they're like, my doctor says everything's fine. And I'm like, your doctor did terrible testing. And they don't even like, we need to look at a different picture here. Okay. So that's important data. Now, there's things that you can implement now that I want to talk about, because this is where literally life gets great. I've talked about explaining, what cortisol is, what it does, and how it basically ruins your life if you're not careful, right? I mean, it does. So, but there's certain things that you can implement right now, even at your desk, okay, that can totally change things for you. So there's things like breath work. There's somatic relief. Somatic yoga, can't really do that at your desk, but that's something you can do. You can balance out your blood sugars. You can support your adrenals, okay, with foods and supplements. You can regulate your nervous system and your limbic system. So your nervous system and your limbic system, they play off of each other. So your vagus nerve, 12th cranial nerve, okay, basically comes from up into the brain, wraps down around to all of your organs, and basically is like kind of the master controller of a lot of your nervous system. All right. Your limbic system controls all the feels. Okay. So basically your body can get totally tripped up, not just with cortisol, but your nervous system and your limbic system, they kind of crosswire with each other. So sometimes we can have really bad, weird symptoms of headaches and all these weird nervous system stuff happening, just because we've had an emotional response to something, because the limbic system plays with that. Okay. So there's some things that you can do to help regulate that. And then, there's things like creating boundaries, which we're going to go into some depth on, because I think this is one of the things I think that people struggle with a lot. Okay. Especially in business, and that's creating hard boundaries. So I was that person. Okay. 7 days a week, you can reach me anytime. I'm your girl. Yeah. People will listen to that and they take advantage of that, right? But you don't really want that in your life, because let's get real. You're not giving yourself your best. You're not taking care of yourself, and your family's getting the short end of the stick. So basically, I'm in the car one day with my husband, and I got one of my clients that I've been waiting to hear back from for a while, finally gets hold of me, and I'm like, oh, I got to deal with this. We pull up to the grocery store, and I'm like, I'm not going in. And he just kind of looks at me, and he's just like, okay. He goes in, he comes out. I'm done with the call. And he said, I just want to thank you so much. And I was like, oh, honey, for what? And he's like, being present, but not being present. And I was like, just dropped my phone. And I was like, ooh, okay. And he's like, you can't even leave the house with me and not work? Like, what is this? And I just had to come to Jesus moment. I was like, you know what? This is not healthy for me, okay, at all. So I started creating boundaries. This is my work hours, okay? I'm off at this time, period. And my system shut down. And let me tell you, this was not an easy thing to do, okay? I'm somebody who do all the things, right? I mean, I ended up getting a work phone and a personal phone, because you know what? I get up in the morning, I have at least 12 video messages waiting for me, and I've got at least 20 text messages waiting for me. I've got patients, I've got clients, I've got crises, you name it. And for me to be healthy, I have to walk away from that. Okay. I do. And it's not fair to myself. It's not fair to my family. But I have to keep the boundaries very, very firm, because again, people will cross them, and I'm an over helper. Okay. Oh my gosh, they texted me, they need my help. I know it's Sunday. Yeah, hang on, I'm in church. Let me just check you out for a second. You know what I mean? It just not healthy at all. And those boundaries, though, are something that the best thing ever for me. And not just the boundaries as far as work hours. There's a certain time of day that I have shut down that I won't even touch anything stressful. Okay. I have a set bedtime every day, and we're talking by 5 p.m. I will not even open an email that's going to be stressful. I will not lay there at night and sit there and stress out over it. I won't have that conversation in my head over and over again. I make sure that I'm going to be in a good place because I know that I need good rest. I know that in order for me to take care of the people that I need to take care of, I need to be my best. And so I will. I have just firm boundaries around my life and my schedule and how I wake up in the morning and how I handle things, because I need that personal time every single morning. I have a very set routine that I get my head on right with Jesus. I get a workout in. I don't talk to anybody until I've done these things that I know are healthy for me, so I can be healthy for other people. So let's talk about breath work.
Can I
Okay.
just pause for a second?
Yeah.
Because most of you have your cameras off, and I know you're listening very intently because you're all still on the call. Nobody has bailed on the call. So I know your head is in this. I also know from coaching that many of you just listened to what Suzi said and went, you have all the drunk monkeys on your shoulder saying, but I'm an agent. I have to answer the phone. But I'm this, and I have family, and I have that, and all of that. I want to encourage you to go back and look at the video, the previous coffee with Christy we did. And Suzi, you're going to meet her at the retreat with Nora Simpson, where she talked about some of this boundary issue and how important it is to create boundaries. So I want to challenge you, if you have those drunk monkeys on your shoulder, to give them a release and let them go and have their time somewhere else. And your boundaries don't have to look just like Suzi's. They can look different, and they're important. So I just want to say that because I'm super passionate about it, because I currently am living the result of not having boundaries. I just got back from physical therapy. I have had 70 doctor appointments this year, and that's why I'm passionate about helping you guys not do what I do. So if you heard Suzi and your brain immediately went to all the reasons why you can't do that, I want to encourage you to find the little spaces where you can do that and then grow those boundaries.
You know, and and let's talk about this for a second, because this is, you know, that false belief that we have, that we had, that if I don't, something will happen. If I don't wear all the hats, if I don't do this, and I'm not saying you don't have to, I'm just saying you just need to structure it in a way that is safe and protective for you. Okay. I work with people on this all the time, and especially you agents. Okay. I get it. You don't want to miss, you don't, you putting in an offer, you got a listing, you don't want to miss anything, because this is your bread and butter. This is your money, right? However, you don't have to get back to everybody, you know, if it's a deal on the line. Okay, if multiple offers, I get that, right? You know, if you're writing an offer, trying to get something in, totally get that. However, there's so much more space within your day that you can create some space and some boundaries, period, and some time for yourself. Okay, because time for yourself is super important. Time for taking care of you is critical, because what do you have when you don't have your health? Like, honestly, if you want the truth, go, yeah, things get bad for you, and the business stuff really doesn't matter anymore, because you just want to function. All right. And if I had a buck for how many people, gosh, I have so many regional directors. Boy, those guys, they're like, Suzi, and I'm like, oh, I know. I'm a disaster. Like, I can barely function. My whole body's shutting down on me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, well, let's figure out where we can move things around, where we can decompress. And that's the thing. That's why I have space set out for just decompression. Okay. Take an Epsom salt bath at night. You know, you can do that. I've somebody telling me I can't do that. She started doing it and she goes, wow, I really have time to do that. And I'm like, that was one of those false beliefs that you had in your head that you didn't. And now you're actually more productive because you're taking care of yourself. Kind of crazy, right? So I want to go over some things like breath work, okay? Because this is one of the things that you can do right now in the moment. All right. So somebody has just ticked you off. You know, you have the expectation and you have the reality. All right. The expectation is, I told somebody that, you know, we can have everything turned around and all of this done today. The reality is it's going to take 5 days, right? And you're like, thanks. Thanks for the extra work. Okay. You're in that moment of stress where you're just like, ah, I just had somebody yesterday so mad at her husband. I'm like, here we go. Let's do some box breathing. Box breathing. Here we go. I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose, and we're going to count to 5. And once you get to the top at 5, we're going to hold it for 5. You're going to exhale down for 5 and hold it for 5. So we're kind of building a box. So ready? Take it in. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, breathe it in the nose. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This right now is taking you out of fight or flight, and it's getting you into that parasympathetic state of rest and digest. How about it? Okay. Super easy to do. I recommend 3 minutes of box breathing. Other type of breathing is 4, 7, 8. So you're going to take in the breath for 4 counts. Ready? Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to hold it at the top for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now exhale through the nose for 8. Nice and long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this is another option. So I like options. Hum breathing. Okay, hum breathing actually stimulates the vagus nerve. Okay, so the vagus nerve, when the vagus nerve trips, it just sends that immediate nervous system reaction to the body. So if you take a breath in through your nose, as you exhale, we're going to hum. So take a deep breath in the nose. Exhale. You feel that vibration in the back of your throat that's stimulating the vagus nerve. Again, breathe it in through the nose. Breathe it in. Hum it out. I know you've been to yoga class before and they did this breathing and you're like, why are we even doing this? Well, there's an explanation right there. Okay, it's stimulating that. And then you have your psychological sigh. So that would be a big deep breath into the nose. And right as you get to the top, we're going to hold another sip of air in. And then we're just going to exhale. So ready, take a deep breath in the nose. Now sip in one more big breath. And then let it go. Again, breathe in through the nose. Sip in one more time. Let it go. And when you let it go, I mean, let your body go. I want you to just feel it. Just feel this relaxation. One more time. Give it to me good here. Breathe in through the nose. Come on, bring it in. Suck it in a little bit more. One more sip. Release it. Drop the shoulders. Doesn't that just feel better? Yeah, it does. It does. It's one of the, and again, it's something you can do anywhere. So I make sure, like, I'll be in my sauna and I literally make sure I do box breathing for 3 minutes every single, in the middle of my day, I'll go do hot yoga in my sauna and I need a timeout. Basically, my day's been psycho. I need a timeout for a good 50 minutes and I'll go do hot yoga in my sauna. And at the very end, I will do the breath work there. And I'll also do like a little shaking movement to do some somatic movements. So somatic movements. Here we go. These are one of my favorites. So talk about gorilla thumps. Again, pissed off. Okay. So I don't know, your husband did all the things wrong, didn't pick up your kid from wherever and then brought him home or brought the wrong kid home. Let's get real. Like you just pissed. Okay. Gorilla thumps is where you basically just get up and honestly, it's movement of energy. Okay. This is all this is. We're moving energy. Come on, everybody up. We're going to move some energy here. Little hits, little hits. Okay. And if you want to yell, just, oh my gosh, make it stop. All right. This is one of those things that is great for just, we need to release some energy. All right. Now we have things like towel tears. Okay. Again, another great thing to do, an angry moment. You're grabbing a towel and you're just gonna just like you're ripping it apart. Just rip the towel. Okay. Ah. Oh my gosh. And it's such a good feeling afterwards of like, okay, all right. You moved some really big energy out of the way. All right. Same thing with pushaways. You literally, it's pushing bad energy out of you. So again, you're angry. You just push it away. Just, make a noise. You take your trash back. I don't want your bad energy. Push it away. And this way, again, these are just energetic releases, okay? Shaking, I think, is one of my favorites, okay? So this is something I do in the morning. This is something, my husband actually recently went off of his depression medication, and he has had a phenomenal success actually off of it. It's been fantastic. But in the transition, like, what do you do when you're nervous like that? And you shake it out. Like, honestly, it's shaking it out. And I told him, you should have seen him. He's like, okay, I'm shaking it out. I'm like, no, get up and just shake it out for a second. And sometimes you can put on a song, sometimes you can dance, but honestly, just shaking it out, getting that energy out, it makes you feel so much better, especially when you're feeling anxious. Okay. Shaking that nervous energy out. Okay. And then again, having a hard time, butterfly taps. This is where we are bilaterally stimulating the nervous system. Okay, so you can just sit here, close your eyes, butterfly taps. Same thing with hugs.
Wait, I can't see what you're doing. Okay.
Okay, so we have this, yes. And same thing with just even giving yourself a little hug, okay? And just basically tapping. Okay, this is letting your body know, hey, I'm safe. I'm safe. This is good. This is good. All right.
Wait, show me tapping so we can see that. Yeah, I saw the hug. Oh, tapping all the way
This
up
is
and
just
down.
tapping,
Okay.
and you can even tap your forehead. Okay, you can tap your face. Okay, these are things letting your nervous system know, hey, it's okay, it's okay. And a lot of times we have to do that. We have to let the nervous system say it's okay because it's being overstimulated. Okay, it's becoming dysregulated. So oxytocin. Okay, this is the other thing that this is I think this is the hormone that nobody knows about. Okay, do you know oxytocin? You can have the most stressful thing happen, cortisol is raging, and you're like, how do I make it stop? Oxytocin can shut down cortisol. And guess what? Hugging. Okay, become a hugger. If you're not a hugger, become a hugger. If you don't have anyone to hug, hug yourself. Okay. And there's things like laughing, there's touch, okay? Things that bring you joy. You have to get yourself out of this crazy state of fight or flight, right? And this is one of those things that oxytocin will shut it down. So I have not been a hugger for the longest time. I hug oh my gosh, I'm all day long. Come hug me. Somebody needs to hug me now. I was going through one of the worst periods in my life where I actually stopped sleeping. Yeah, that was fun. And let me see where we're at on the slide deck. Hang on, I'm going to get to my story in a second. So nervous system regulations, we did humming, right? We talked about humming. This can help the nervous system. Gargling. You can take water and gargle. Okay, this can settle the nervous system. Nose breathing, alternate nostril. So breathe in through one nostril, and you're going to exhale out the next. Yeah, and then breathe in, and then exhale. And we did the breath with the long exhale. The polyvagal maneuver is basically where you stick your hands behind your head like this. And you basically just with your eyes, you're going to look off to the side. This will help stimulate the vagus nerve, again, to get it to reset. So super easy things you can do at your desk, right? Which I love. Dietary changes, okay? So when we're dealing with adrenals, okay? Coffee is not really your friend if your cortisol levels are super high, all right? It's one of those things that we want to be careful with. Sugar, again, is something that you want to have balanced blood sugars. And if you're eating high sugary foods, you're going to have, or things that are high in the glycemic index. Okay, so there's foods that are high in glycemic index, and you're like, but it's not even a sugar, like bread. Okay, will shoot your blood sugar straight up and drop it right back down. Your morning food of breakfast with a bagel, it's going to shoot your blood sugar straight up and down. Bananas, same thing. Like foods when it comes to adrenals, especially in the morning, your breakfast should be protein, fat, and fiber. That's what we should focus on, okay? But throughout the course of the day, we want to make sure that blood sugar stays regulated. So fasting normally is a great thing for a lot of things, right? But when it comes to adrenal issues and cortisol issues, fasting is not your friend, because it's going to drop blood sugars, which is going to activate who? Cortisol, okay? So we get in this vicious loop. So again, we want to avoid the sweet breakfast and processed carbs, because again, that's going to shoot you high and low. Foods that you can focus on, okay? Magnesium, like I mentioned before, is one of those things that dips. So avocados, bananas, dark chocolate, that's right, I said it, we're gonna have some chocolate. This is why, ladies, right before your period, you're like, where's the chocolate? Your body is tanking in magnesium. It's a craving, right? Your body is looking for that. So it's always looking for magnesium though, especially under stress. Protein-rich foods, gut-healthy foods, okay? So like kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, fiber, okay? So we want high fiber foods, beans, nuts, lentils, seeds, things high in omega 3s, okay? So seafood, all right? Chia, flax, these are all really good things to help balance out your whole system here. Cultured foods, again, back with the healthy gut foods, they're kind of the same. There's a lot of those in the same category. And oily foods like olive oil, the right oils, right? And oysters and blueberries and these kinds of things. So getting these kinds of foods and being more focused on that instead of the quick hit of the chips and the cake and the cinnamon rolls and the donuts, all right? We want to lean away from those and focus more on these types of things. Lifestyle changes. And you're like, okay, here we go. Balance. All right. We want to balance out our life to where you're getting self-care and you're getting good boundaries in. Okay. Sleep hygiene is huge. All right. How many of you sleep well? Come on, type it in. Does anybody sleep well here? Do you? You do? I got one person who sleeps well. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. Sleep is one of those things that my husband used to always be like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. And I'm like, oh boy, that ain't good. They ain't going nowhere. So I went through, well, here's my season of death, basically. Here we go. My daughter, my daughter went to Berkeley, and her first semester at Berkeley, she was raped. And she came home and first semester, and we basically got her therapy, went through all the things and everything else. Well, it's one of those things that I really didn't deal with. Okay. I compartmentalized because I have to keep moving. I gotta keep going. At the same time, my mom died. Like there was a lot going on, and I just couldn't. So fast forward the tape, and my daughter has taken her horrible story and turned it into some amazing things. She's gotten 3 bills passed through legislation for sexually assaulted victims. She's 22 years old. Okay. She took what happened to her and she got involved with an organization called RISE, and they get bills passed through legislation for sexually assaulted victims. And they flew her out to Louisiana when they got this one bill passed to be there for the signing of the bill. And it hit me. Like all of a sudden out of nowhere, it hit me of what, I mean, like, this is what, guess we're going to deal with this now. I'm sobbing uncontrollably. Okay. At the same time, my husband gets another traumatic brain injury. Okay. Now we've had we've had some bad ones in the past, and here we go again. And I stopped sleeping. Like my whole cortisol level shot through the roof. I mean, I literally just, everything shut down on me. And I remember sitting there and I was like, okay, this is bad, because I have a lot of responsibility with the care for my patients and my clients. Okay. I mean, I've got so many cancer patients that I take care of. I mean, I've got big health issues that I'm dealing with so many people. And I went out and I bought like everything on the market for sleep. Okay. I got neurofeedback helmets. I mean, literally everything, but it wasn't that did it for me. It was crazy. It was making a couple of lifestyle changes that actually did it for me. I mean, I'm not kidding. I would lay there awake at night. I just couldn't shut my brain down, and I couldn't sleep at all. And I was just like, what am I going to do? Well, oxytocin. Hi. My husband literally had me lay on his lap every night, and he would just rub my head. Okay. I'd fall asleep on the couch, and then he'd come up to bed, because we go to bed at different times, and he'd just lay next to me. And that right there, I'm like, just give me a hit of oxytocin. I mean, it was something that was so calming. I mean, I took high doses of magnesium. Obviously, I needed it. I did some things to help with that, but really it was the breath work that I started to do. Okay. I started doing the somatic movements through the day. I started incorporating all the things that didn't cost anything. And I was like, hold on, like this is actually working. Okay. And I coach people on all this stuff. So it's important that you, again, find the balance. Okay. And sleep hygiene is huge. Having a set bedtime every single night and being consistent with it, and the time you wake up is critical. Okay. It is. Making sure your room is cold, making sure it's dark, making sure your phone is not in there. Okay. You don't want any distractions. You're there for one purpose and one person only, and that is sleep. Well, unless your husband's there. It might be other reasons, but I'm just saying, oxytocin. There you go. Lots of oxytocin there. Anyway, you want to create an environment that is, I mean, I have a sound machine in there. It's like Fort Knox for sleeping. I've got a mask, so it's completely blacked out. The room is cold. I got white noise going on. I'm sleeping on a grounding mat. I'm serious. There's no electronics. I don't even have my alarm clock plugged in. I actually wake up naturally when my body tells me it's time to get up. And it's been amazing to just implement all these things to make sure that I'm shutting that cortisol down. Okay. So my body can heal. Your body does all of its recovery when you sleep. Did you know that? All of its healing and everything it does you need to be sleeping. So it's important to do that. Okay. So taking time for meals. Ladies, stop skipping meals. I know your meetings are long. I know you're at the computer all day. Have a cooler next to you. Okay. Do something, do some things in advance to set yourself up for success. So basically the night before, I'm set. Okay. Even if I tell people, some people do meal prep where they do like a whole week, right? On a Sunday or whatever. And I'm like, if you make extra at night the day before, you're cooking at night anyway, right? Make a little extra. Now you have lunch, but also take care of your breakfast. So you have everything already lined up, and you're not in a rush. Okay. And all of a sudden you're prepared, because the phone's going to ring first thing in the morning. A listing is going to go live. They're going to need you in the office. That these things are going to happen. So in the evening, we're going to take care of the morning. How about that? So this way your morning isn't crazy. And even if it is crazy, at least you're taken care of. Okay. And you're actually able to eat. Like, you shouldn't be waiting to eat until 5 p.m. because you couldn't leave your desk. That's not healthy. No. And if you're somebody who sits at the desk all day, get a standing desk, people. Like, honestly, just get some movement. It's so important. Again, back to creating space through the day. Where can you carve in a little bit? It can be 10 minutes. You can take a call while walking around the block at the same time. Did you know that? Hold on. Monumental, right? It's super easy to incorporate some things that are going to give you a little bit more health, right? A little bit more breathing room. You can multitask it, right? You can do all these different things, making sure you're filling your tank every day. So for me, my non-negotiable is my morning. Okay. It ain't going to happen. I will not talk to you until I've talked to Jesus first. I won't. I will not talk to you until I have had my workout. I won't. I'm going to get my time of what I need. I'm going to read my Bible. I'm going to do all the things I need to do. And then I'm going to do this. Okay. I am in such a better headspace this way. I tackle and handle everything well. If I don't have this, you're going to get sassy Susie. Nobody wants sassy Susie. I'm just going to tell you this right now. She's not nice. All right. You're going to get cranky, tired, somebody who can't make a good decision. All right. And we need to be making good decisions. So maybe there's some things that you need to delegate. Let's talk about that. What things do you not have to touch every single day? Stop being a micromanager. Okay. Some things you know, like, hey, I can't pass this off, but do you need to touch it that much? Do you need to lord over this all the time? Or maybe you touch it every other day. Or maybe you can shift it over here where you don't even have to right now. You know what I mean? We get caught up in the, if it's not going to get done by me, it's not going to be done right. It's true. And sometimes we gotta let go of some things to have more room for yourself. Okay. So again, exercise. And then things like prayer and meditation. I mean, everybody needs this time, okay, to definitely keep their brain and their head in the right space. So let's talk about this for a second. This is my favorite right here. This is my favorite verse. Okay. So listen, this may not be your jam. Okay. Bible might not be your jam. Jesus might not be your jam, but this is my jam. But I gotta break this down for you guys because this is amazing. Okay. So this is the deal. My favorite verses and why. All right. So it says, here we go. Rejoice in the Lord always. I say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all, the Lord is near. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to rejoice. All right. I'm having a bad day. I'm going to rejoice. Okay. And I'm going to be gentle. Okay. I'm going to be gentle. Why? Because I'm not going to handle this by myself. God's near, right? Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. All right. So this is where, okay, I'm gonna make a choice here. I'm gonna choose to not be anxious about anything, but I'm going to, you hear people say it all the time, I'm gonna give it to God. I'm just gonna give it to God, right? And the peace of God will transcends all understanding. It's going to guard your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. You're like, you know what? That sounds good. I like this. It sounds really good. How come this doesn't work though? Like, let's be honest. Let's get the real talk. Okay. Let's a practical application here. All right. I'm going to go to God. I'm going to be super anxious and I'm going to lay everything at his feet and I'm going to trust that he's going to take care of it. Okay. I do that a lot, but I still feel anxious afterwards. I still feel unsettled afterwards. I still am thinking about this constantly afterwards. Why? I'll tell you why. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Hold on. Wait a minute. What just happened here? The scripture tells us that we're supposed to change the way that we think. Okay, this is the thing. I'm super stressed out. I'm anxious about this. I gave it to God, but I'm going to keep picking it back up. I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to keep thinking about this. Here you go, God. Oh my gosh, but what if this happens? Here you go, God. Oh my gosh. No. We have to change what's happening here. So when we let it go, I'm going to focus on what's good, what's excellent, and what's praiseworthy. I'm not going to focus on the problem. I'm going to take my mind into a different direction. If you want peace in your life, you need to take your head in a different place. You need to take your brain into a whole different place and be like, I'm going to focus on something good right now. I'm not going to focus on this. I'm going to focus on something good. I'm going to focus on something excellent. I'm going to focus on something praiseworthy. And when you start shifting your brain away from the worry, the anxiousness, and the fear or whatever the problem is, and you start focusing on something good, your whole mindset changes. Okay, it just does. This is where peace happens. You want peace? Stop picking it back up. If you're going to give it to God and you want peace, you're going to have to lay it down and you're going to have to change the way that you think. Not only about the situation, because sometimes we can't even do that. Sometimes we're like, you know what, this is too big for me. Take it, run with it. God, it's yours. Can't deal. But I'm going to think about something else instead of this. Now, 2 weeks ago, Everyone crossed every boundary in my life. It was a Friday. I didn't sleep the night before. And when I didn't, if I had a bad, my husband had a bad night. We were up all night. It was one of those things. And I was exhausted. And literally after hours on a Friday, I normally shut my systems down. I didn't. It's my own fault. I had my stuff up and I'm like, why are they bothering me? It's like 4 hours after they know my rules. And I mean, I walked around the house pissed. And I was like, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm over this. But my head kept replaying it. And my head kept telling me, oh my gosh, how dare they? Oh my gosh, they this, they that. It wasn't until I took my brain into a totally different direction and I started focusing on things that are good, that are excellent, that are praiseworthy. That is when I got my head out of the situation. That's when my mindset shifted and that's where everything got easier for me. And that's what I want to really impress upon you guys. It doesn't matter what somebody else does or what the situation is. If you want peace in your life, you have to change the way you're thinking in that moment, whatever it is. And again, sometimes the situations you can't find anything good in that situation. Think about something else that you can find good in, but take your head out of it so you can actually have some sort of restful moment and peace. So, by the way, we just launched a 14-day adrenal reset, okay, which basically has all of the things that you would need to reset your adrenals. Literally, I mean, one of the biggest things that I love about the program that we launched is it has an actual schedule. Okay, so this is my thing when it comes to realtors and all the people in the real estate industry. And I tell people all the time, if you can schedule it in, you can do it. Bottom line is nobody schedules themselves in. You don't. You schedule everything else in, everyone else in, and you don't schedule yourself in. So we have this program and it's mapped out where you actually can schedule all of the things that you need. Scheduling breath work in, scheduling your electrolytes in, scheduling things into your own system to make sure that you're doing it and taking care of yourself. Recipes, it's got meal plans, it has literally everything that you need to be successful with it. Our Ops Boss community, though, we're going to give you guys a little discount if anybody signs up and lets us know code word bossy, because y'all bossy. We are here for that for you guys. But it is something that I spent, gosh, such a long time on. But like I said, this program was so critical for my own health. And what I
Suzi,
did,
do we have a link for that
we
you can
can-
drop? Is Rich hiding around the?
He is. Rich, can you
Rich,
drop a link in there?
maybe we can drop a link in there, or you can send it to Brooke and we'll send it out. Thank you.
Okay, he'll send it to Brooke. Yeah,
Perfect.
absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway, I am just so thankful that I hope you guys learned some things today. Okay. And I hope that you take really into consideration just you. And that's it. That's the one thing that I want to leave with all of you is all of you matter. All of you are important. Taking care of yourself. It's not an afterthought. It shouldn't be. And it's not selfish. Okay. And that's the thing. I think people get in the mind frame of, you know what, it's selfish if I do that for myself. No, it's not, because by you taking care of yourself, you can take care of everybody else better. Bottom line, you are important and you matter so much to your family, to your community, to everybody. And the best version of you haven't even been able to see. And I know that it's there. And I know you guys can you just feel this whole group of people is just filled with greatness. And I'm just thankful that I get an opportunity to love on you guys and share things with you. And I can't wait until the retreat.
Can't wait until the retreat either. I'm going to give a couple minutes for questions and answers. I know we're over time, so if you have to sign off the call, thank you all for being with us. We did have one question that came in the chat from Ashley. You talked about balancing blood sugars. Are the recipes and meal plans diabetic friendly in the program that you're launching?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. So I know that's a new challenge Ashley is dealing with. So that's good to know. If you guys have further questions or want to reach out to Suzi, Brooke just posted the website in the chat, rcanutrition.com. And Suzi, is that the best way for them to just reach out to you through the website if they have questions?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much. Suzi, thank you. I really, really appreciate the practical tools that you gave us today, because as someone who's living the back end of I let cortisol run my life for 60 years, I'm literally learning all of these along with you. So I'm very, very grateful, and thank you for joining with us. Rich, thanks for joining with us from behind the scenes. We appreciate you too, and we'll see you guys in about 12 days or something like that.
Yes.
So
thank you
oh,
again.
and Brooke just put the TikTok link in the chat as well. So
Perfect.
thank you guys for joining with us. If you have questions, pop them in the chat, and otherwise we'll see you in Virginia in a few short days.
Looking forward to it.
Bye, guys.